So these are the people who are supposed to be teaching our kids. Tolerance, education doesn't exist anymore. Why? We'll get into that and more here on the A Show Extra. Good afternoon, good morning, or good night, good evening, whenever you're tuning in. Yesterday we had a fantastic show, myself and April, but today we're doing a little bit of the A Show Extra, and we know if you don't know who I am, I'm the reporter of the people, the man with the plan, Big Ray, here to stay to talk some news topics today, trending news, and usually I take one news story that really hits me right in the cockles of my heart. Yes, I said the cockles of my heart, and I'm not alone, ladies and gentlemen. I am here. And I got some intro music. This is from 1991. Let's see if he knows what this is. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on. I'll replay that.
Listen up, maggots.
Yes, it is the old Sergeant Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, he is 20. He serves 20 years, U.S. Air Force. We are here with Sergeant Chuck Finley. Sergeant, what's going on, buddy?
What it is, Big Ray.
I'll get better intro music. I was like, shit, what am I gonna do here? I gotta give him something. What's going on? How was your Memorial Day?
Pretty good. Had to work, but I only work 3 days a week as it is regular, so I wasn't really complaining.
God damn it. They make you work. They make an Army veteran work, or I'm sorry, an Air Force veteran, a military veteran work on your day. That's like working on your wedding day, or
Yeah, but I got paid time and a half, so I ain't crying.
Yeah, I got to work too. Same thing. Hey, good morning, Dan Heffron. Yeah, people will still slowly trickle in as we do this here. So really quickly, man. This is one of the stories I sent it to you. Now you don't live here in New York City, but the story got over to where you are, right? You're in
Yeah, I am familiar
Ohio.
with it. This made national news. I first saw it on Fox.
Yeah. Shocker. Um,
Not Fox News. Oh no.
so let me ask you a question, bro. Growing up, before we even get into this situation here, growing up, let's talk about like what it was going to school when we were kids. Um, I don't know if you were a good kid or a bad kid. Yes, believe it or not, I believe there are such things as good kids and bad kids. I think so, people say, "Oh, there's no such thing as bad kids." I was an asshole. I was a bad kid. I sucked. What about you?
Most of us were assholes, but that doesn't mean we were bad kids. We're just
Oh,
kids. Kids. There's no bad kids. There's only bad parents.
oh, got it. Yeah, I was
Who
a bad
you
kid
know,
though.
I was. Yeah, I got up to stuff when I was a kid, as did you. And when we got caught, I'm sure we, you know, caught Dad's hand for a little bit and got grounded for a couple of weeks after that. See, I got both. I got grounded after the ass whipping. When I was
Mm.
little.
So you got the ass whipping, then grounded,
Uh
basically.
huh.
All right, I'll take
But
that. Yeah.
when I was little, timeout was when Dad took time out of his busy day to whip my ass and make me a better person.
Yeah, man. Things have changed.
Yeah.
What about school? What about school? I remember respecting my teachers, and I remember
Yep.
my teachers having like respect for us, more or less. I don't remember teachers, calling me names, or well, some did, but it's really gotten out of hand nowadays. What was it like for you growing up? Did you go to school in Ohio or
Yeah.
somewhere
Public
else?
school in Dublin, Ohio, K through 12 the whole time. And yeah, we respected our teachers because, well, I did. Some of the kids, you could start to see it in my generation. Like they backtalk the teachers, and
Yeah.
the whole time they're doing, I'm sitting there thinking, what is going to happen when they tell your parents and you get home?
Mm,
Because it didn't occur to me that some parents don't discipline their kids and they let them get away with everything and under the sun.
yeah.
I never got in trouble at school well, all right, I got in trouble at school. We
Of
all
course.
did,
We
but
all did, of
I
course.
tried to mitigate the trouble because I knew if I got in trouble at school, I don't care about the detention or the Saturday school or any of that crap. It was what was waiting for me at home that had me worried. So let me act right at school, and then I won't have to worry about whatever's going to go down at home. And that just evolves into a pattern of acting right all the time.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, that's
Th-
basically
There are consequences for your actions. It's a strange concept in this day and age to today's youth, but it was a thing back in our day.
also when we were kids, I don't remember teachers like giving us their like I remember I had one teacher. Her name was Ms. Dravdowski. Ms.
Mm,
And she made it clear that she was not Mrs. Dravdowski. She made it clear that she wasn't Miss Dravdowski. She was Ms. She was a single woman. So she wanted to make that clear to us. I don't know why, but that's the only time I remember any teacher telling me like, anything personal about their life. Like nowadays, I feel like these teachers have gotten extremely. By the way, I have to say this. Um, my son is in high school, and his teachers look like Instagram models. Like even the
mhm.
like, what is going on nowadays? Like, what is
Yeah,
happening?
and then you got not only that, what I never had her for any classes, but Miss Fields back when I was in high school.
Oh yeah,
Miss Fields turned heads. And we got older, like you and I, our age. We're seeing all these stories. Yeah, this teacher getting in trouble for, messing around with her male students, and we're going, where the hell was that shit when we were in high school?
I don't know, brother.
You
All I
know?
got. Well, I mean, I mean, it's well known and well documented that I did have a little fun in high school with
Mhm.
a younger teacher when I was there. It's very well documented. I actually had that teacher
You
on one of
you
my
had a
shows.
teacher that was younger than you when you were in high school.
No, no, no. She was older. She
Oh,
was older. She was older,
okay.
but she was just like fresh. She was like a teacher's
She was
assistant.
younger
Like,
than the other teachers, not
oh
younger
yeah,
than you.
she
Okay.
was a,
All
she was
right.
like a teacher's assistant,
Ah,
and we had some incredible times
yes, indeedy.
for years actually. And
Mm,
I actually had her on one of my podcasts some
mm.
time ago. It was interesting. Anywho, with that being said, hey, what's going on? The artist returns. He jumps in and says, "I had elementary school teachers who were chain smokers in class."
He's way older than us.
Wow, I don't remember a teacher smoking. Actually, you know what? Bullshit. I do remember.
Teachers smoked when at they never smoked in front of us. They had the area where they go, the outside or whatever, when where they'd have a cigarette or what have you. But it
Yeah.
was never ever in front of the kids.
No, I had a teacher that did smoke in the classroom though. Like when we
Mm,
would leave the classroom and go to another class, like art or whatever, we would
hmm.
come back and there was that stale smell of cigarettes and all the windows were open.
Yep.
So I did have that. But anyway, the reason I'm reminiscing and I'm thinking back is because Chuck, it's like, dude, when I was in school, I don't remember, yeah, 70s. So artists went to school in the 70s. I went to school in the late 70s. Well, not even the late 70s. I would say early 80s because I was born 76. So 80,
Yep.
80, 81 around there. Anywho, I don't remember politics being kind of perpetuated and pushed upon us like it is now in school. You don't have any kids, do you? You have
Nope.
kids? You don't have any kids. Okay. So I noticed more. See, I was lucky enough that my son went to a school in New York City, believe it or not, that had none of that. None of that whatsoever. And now he's in art high school, and I'm surprised to know that it's pretty much a curriculum. They teach their classes. They don't have that going on, but that's not the normal now, Chuck. From the outside looking in, Chuck, I don't know if this is a thing over there in Ohio as well. Like, do you see a difference in the educational system and how the teachers operate nowadays?
I'm
Have you heard
so
stories
far
and stuff?
removed from school since I got no kids of my own. 41-year-old bachelor walking around to school is bound to raise a few eyebrows.
Well,
So,
yeah, that's kind of
yeah,
creepy, bro.
hey, what's this guy doing here?
Yeah, no kidding.
But yeah, and they don't really talk about it too much on the news. And I don't follow much news anyway. I follow national news.
Okay,
The news I get, I catch bits and pieces online, and I watch the five on Fox News. That's about it.
okay,
And local news I catch rarely, but
right.
there's not a lot of talk about. anything. I will state that this has been a couple years ago. I heard on the radio
Mhm.
the Columbus. You got main Columbus itself, Columbus proper, and then all the outlying sub cities, for lack of a better word. What part of New York you in? You're in NYC, right?
Yeah, New York City. Well, right now I was raised in the Lower East Side of New York City, Manhattan,
Yeah,
by the, financial district, and then, I'm
yeah.
living right now in Brooklyn on the outskirts.
Okay, so Brooklyn is
It's
its
ki
own thing, but it's considered part of New York City. But
Yes, Brooklyn, Bronx,
okay,
Queens, and
yeah,
Manhattan. They're all
the
all
boroughs and
right.
such. Okay,
Mhm.
something similar to this is, you got Columbus right in the middle, and then none of this is going to matter to you, but you got Hilliard, Dublin, Westerville, Gahanna, so on and so forth, all the way
Right.
around.
Mhm.
They're rattling off all the school report cards come down at one point or another. Dublin A, Hilliard A minus, Westerville B, Groveport B, everybody else, B A B A B, Columbus F,
Mm.
the inner city F.
What the hell is that?
Y- like they're failing out there, but the outlying schools,
Oh,
yeah, the suburbs and such, they're doing great because they're teaching facts. They're
okay.
teaching the subjects. At least they were. And now, I graduated 20 years ago. I don't know how much has changed since then.
A
And
lot.
they say, yeah, it could be a funding issue. Look, I believe there's still some school buildings in the Columbus City School District don't have air conditioning.
Wow, okay.
What's the problem here, guys? You take out. I see the taxes, the Columbus City taxes coming out of my paycheck. Why the hell can't you pay for air conditioning for the schools?
Interesting.
Yeah, we had that issue or similar issues at Dublin, one of the wealthiest school districts in the state. Why are we having to share textbooks?
So, wow, so that it seems like there's issue with funding.
Sometimes the other issue, and the thing I'm remembering, and I'm having to dig back through the fog here. There were teachers at my school who didn't have their own classroom,
Mhm.
but I think that was because they were bringing in so many teachers of so many subjects, and they didn't have the logistical space to do it. Especially because my high school was built. Good Lord, I don't know when it was built, but there was a
Mm,
time when when I graduated, it was Dublin Kaufman. Before that, it was just Dublin High School. It was the only
okay,
one. Now
right,
there's three high schools because they keep growing and growing and growing.
got it.
So that was the issue there with Kaufman. There simply just wasn't enough building for all the teachers of all the different subjects they're bringing in, and that's a good thing to have more teachers of more subjects teach more things to kids. The more, what was the little star on the NBC thing? The more you know, so teach them things.
You're breaking up a little bit there, my friend. I don't know if it's on my end or on your end, but, it seems like you're frozen. Maybe you can back out and come back in. I don't know how this will work. I'm gonna remove you and then bring you back. Maybe you can pop out of the stream and come back in. Let's see if it works here. Yeah, I think can you talk real quick, Chuck?
I can talk real quick or I can talk real slow. Which do you want?
Yeah, you're gonna have to actually you're gonna actually have to, back out of the entire thing and then come back in if that's okay. And I'm
All
gonna
right.
and I'm just gonna break down what we're gonna talk about in the next few minutes. Is that cool?
Yep, I'll be
Uh,
right back.
all right, let me remove you real quick. So Chuck will be back. So basically, the reason why the reason for the discussion is that we have and yes and real quick, let me just say hello to some of the people in the chat real quick that have jumped in. We have the artist returns. We have Dan Haffron. We have Aaron Ben Shlomo all the way from Israel, and we have our friend Winona that just jumped in, and she says, "Sad thing is that now most teachers see it as glorified babysitting." And Chuck is back with us, so yes, Chuck looks great. He's back. So our
I
friend
wouldn't say
Winona here,
great.
well, pretty good. So Winona says, "Sad thing is that
Ruggedly
most."
handsome.
Yeah, well, I'll
And
take it.
yeah, they are. It has become glorified babysitting for the ones who've been run down and just beat down by the system. Because the young ones, they get in there and they're going to be the next ones to change the world, and God bless them for their passion and all that. But when the administration and the union and all the forces above them keep pushing back and pushing back and pushing back, why even bother?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, a lot of these young teachers do want to change the world, but this has been going on for some time. I'm going to play a quick clip from about a year ago, real
Mhm.
quick, and then we'll jump into the story that we're going to really focus in and discuss today. And this is a story where the teachers have decided to kind of, well, let me just play it and you tell me what you feel and what you think about this story. This is a year ago, and it's been going on for longer than that. I would say maybe 2019, 2020, this really started being perpetuated in an educational school system. But this is one of the things that kind of annoy me, and it doesn't matter. Like I make it clear, it doesn't matter whether you're gay, whether you're straight. I don't give a shit. But when I send my kid to school, I send them there for an education based on facts. I don't send them based on what you think the fact is. But check this out. This is an old story here.
An
I
orange
remember this one.
English as a second language teacher is being investigated by her school district over a controversial viral video. In it, she jokes about pledging allegiance to the pride flag rather than the American flag.
We do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he like looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
The teacher, Kristen Pitson, says she took down the American flag in her classroom during COVID because it, quote, made her feel uncomfortable, end quote. Pitson says she packed it away and hasn't found it yet. The Newport Mesa School District says showing respect for the American flag is an important value and they take the matter seriously. Hello,
All right, so this is hello. So this is one of the things that
Yeah, she ain't found it yet because she hasn't looked.
well, she's thrown it away.
Yeah.
That's obvious. She's taken it, stomped on it, and it made her feel uncomfortable. The American flag had made her, what's going on, cool, awesome dude, has made her feel uncomfortable. So now, let me ask you a question. Let's say you did have kids. You put them in school and you find out that this teacher is teaching this ideology, this, teaching the kids that, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this American. Why don't you salute this flag? And kids start asking, well, what is this flag? What does that have to do with the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s in school?
Nothing. And I'd be raising 6 kinds of hell over that.
I just don't get it. Just recently, here in Hunter College. So Hunter College is a 4-year university here in New York City. It's actually a relatively prestigious school. It's not like Harvard. It's not Yale. It's not even NYU, but it's a really good school here in New York City. And I'm going to play this video of this situation that happened here with this arts professor.
Mm.
All right, I got to stop you real quick. Why did that raise your eyebrows real quick?
Arts
Be honest.
professor. It wouldn't matter what, because I've seen what we're going to show the audience here, but yeah, she shouldn't be a professor of anything.
Yeah, I agree. But why don't we just jump into this real quick? This is courtesy of Fox News. And if you guys haven't heard this story, again, here you go. And I can't wait to hear what the what the chat says about this one. Let me share the screen, and here we go. Press play here.
Just when you thought college campuses couldn't get any nuttier, well, something happened when pro-life students at Hunter College encountered Shellyne Rodriguez. They say she's a professor.
You're not educating. This is propaganda. What are you gonna do? Like anti-trans next?
All right, let me stop this real quick. You're not educating shit. This is anti-trans propaganda.
It wasn't even that. This was a pro-life table that they had set up. She's asking, are you going to do anti-trans next? One has nothing to do with the other. How is she making that leap?
Not at all. Let's continue. Read and listen, guys.
Is that what you're gonna do next?
I mean, no, we're talking about abortion.
This is bull. This is violent. You're triggering my students.
This is violent.
Yeah, 2 people standing behind a table with a bunch of pamphlets on it.
Let's discuss some of these keywords here that she's using before we continue this. Before we
And you hit it on the head. Keywords to get this thing, to get it all out there. They got their little buzzwords. I'm triggered. This is violent. Because those are words that get people's attention. Violent. What's going on over here? People respond to violent because you shouldn't beat other people up for no reason. So they instinctively want to help, but that is not violent. That's two people standing behind a table. If you want to take a pamphlet, take a pamphlet. If you don't want to take a pamphlet, well, have a nice day.
Violent, as defined here, is using or involving physical force to intend hurt, damage, or kill someone or something.
Keep that in mind for what comes up next in the video.
Keep that in mind, and then the similar words that are associated with this is brutal, vicious, savage, harsh, rough, aggressive, bullying. I don't know if
none of those words apply to those two students that I saw standing there.
No, not at all. They seem to be quite docile and respectful from what I saw. But let's continue to see what happens next in this little tidbit of video here, and we will continue, and we can stop as the video continues here as well. But there's something else that she says here that really, really got to me.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you're not, because you can't even have a baby.
I'll stop it right there again.
Yeah, but because I will applaud her on this. At least in 2023, she knows that men cannot have babies.
Well,
you gotta take that as a win these days,
bro.
Back in our day, men can't have babies. No shit. Also, grass is green. Today, that's not so much the truth anymore.
I like what the artist says here. He says, and this is the chat for the people listening on audio. It says, "Triggered. That is the new buzzword for I strongly disagree." Aaron Ben Shlomo jumps in and says the education system made it so easy, so that many kids could not care, would not care. Anyway, what she said is anti-trans herself, didn't she? I thought.
Yeah, she asked them because they're doing a pro-life table there, which they have the permission of the university to set up their little table there. And she comes over all mad about that. She's, "What are you going to do? Anti-trans next? What does trans have to do with abortion? Nothing." That all right. Carl Lewis could not make that leap.
No, wow, that's a good one. I like
that. That's an old. The younger crowd ain't going to know who Carl Lewis is.
LeBron
but
James.
I don't know who any of the long jumpers of today is. The only track star I know is Usain Bolt. He doesn't jump long. He just runs really, really fast.
He's absolutely incredible. We'll use LeBron James. He jumps pretty far. People know who he is. Even my son doesn't watch basketball, and he knows who LeBron James is.
Yeah, the guy who's not as good as Michael Jordan.
Never will be.
I said it. I mean it, and I ain't sorry.
Goddamn right. Next week I may be bringing Chuck on to talk some WNBA. That might be fun. And why the league is not successful, but neither here nor there. So at this point, we have these young. Let's just wrap everything up so far. So we have these young kids, and it seems like, and let me just bring up the video here so you could see what's going on here. So you see them; they have their little table set up. They seem to be nice, decent kids. This teacher aggressively comes up to the table and starts calling them names, starts cursing them out, basically, starts using profanity, starts accusing them of violence and triggering her students. That's another thing that's happening in the educational system, that the parents have lost all power.
Yep.
Your thoughts on that, real quick, Chuck?
Well, the way she phrased it, any teacher in charge of a class at any given time is going to refer to them as my students. But I take your point. They're not her kids. They're they're not kids anymore. Anyhow, they're adults. They're kids to us. But you're in college. You're an adult. But I didn't see any of the students standing behind her, cheering her on, backing her up. Now, that could be because the college-age kids now, they're probably hiding under their desks, sucking their thumbs because they're triggered.
Absolutely.
Which means they strongly disagree.
Now, a lot of the parents have lost their power, like I said.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these teachers believe that it is their job to, I'm going to hit the cough button, to mold the students in their image. I don't mean to bring religion in this, but the way God created us in His image.
It makes sense. I mean, they view their duty as almost a religion.
Very good.
So you didn't bring religion into us. They're trying to make it one.
Not at all. and that's I mean, yeah, I agree, and I think it's wrong, but this is what they're doing, and they're taking these young, vulnerable minds, and at the age, let's be honest, Chuck, you graduate 18,
Mhm.
it was 17 going on 18, you go into college, you're doing your own thing, you get your syllabus, and this is the first time that a teacher's not literally on top of you telling you what to do every second, every minute of the day, and you're still not you're still a kid at the
Yeah.
age of at 47 now, Chuck, and you're in your 40s.
Mhm.
I mean, your mind is not fully developed. You've gained absolutely no wisdom at this point in juncture. So a lot of these teachers feel that it is their duty, their responsibility, their obligation, I guess you would say, to kind of mold these students, but they're not doing it the right way. They're doing it the way they believe is correct. And what they believe is correct may not be what I think is right. And I think as the parent and guardian of these children, because these kids and they're still kids in college, it's still my responsibility, even though they are technically adults. Your thoughts?
It, that age is somewhat of a gray area.
Right.
I would say, I mean, like you say, they're adults, so they're not their parents' responsibility anymore. They're their own responsibility. But I don't know if either of your parents are still alive. My dad's still
My mom.
alive and 41 years old and a face full of fur. I'm still his little boy.
Right. You always
I,
will be, my friend.
yeah, you're always your parent till my mom's dying day. I was her baby boy, even though I had 6 inches and 60 pounds on her. I was her baby boy. But in the K through 12 range,
Mhm.
you're absolutely right. It's not the teacher's job to, well, it's never the teacher's job to be teaching them what to think. You teach them how to think. The parents are responsible for for their moral upbringing. By the time you get to college, it's even less so. Like you said, teachers are not on them every minute of every day. Come to class or don't come to class, pass or fail. I don't care as long as the tuition check clears. That's pretty much what college is.
I'm gonna go to the
You know,
chat real quick, and I
all
agree
right.
with every single thing you said. The artist return says here, teachers are supposed to know the curriculum, navigate, bridging the gap between understanding with the kids, connect, encourage them to ask questions, mentor by example, and treat them like family. And I do not disagree with any of that. I think that is actually spot on if teachers actually did their job. Aaron Ben Shlomo, all the way from Israel, says, Ray, that is because the parents remain quiet. He's putting, remember you said that it's the parents' fault. And
Hmm.
he says here, I do not know how much it is how much it is in the US, but in Israel, there is nothing that happens with children that parents do not know or being quiet about. Well, this is the thing, guys. Here in the US, they keep shit quiet.
Hmm.
They keep things quiet. They don't want you to know what they are teaching your children in school.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know what your kids are learning in school. It's
Yeah.
their kids.
Back
Good,
in
Chuck.
our day, when something happened at school or whatever, we had to bring the thing in the next day signed by our parents, so the teachers knew that our parents knew what it is we did or whatever. And if we didn't do it for enough, eventually they just call the house
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, you want to know what's going on?"
They would
They went
send
out of
it.
their
They would
way to
send. They would
inform
send
our
multiple
parents.
letters. They would send multiple letters, and if they didn't get a response, they would call your house. They would even
Yep.
go to your house at times. But go
Yep.
ahead. I'm sorry, Chuck.
They went out of their way to make sure our parents knew what was going on. Somewhere along the line that changed. The One of the very few positives of COVID was all that Zoom nonsense,
Mhm.
because now they're doing the same thing, except they don't know the parents are on the other side of the room listening and going, "What the hell did she just say?"
Yeah.
And then, because it's to our Israeli friend's point, now parents are starting to get involved. They're starting to
Mhm.
show up to school board meetings.
Yep.
They're starting to show up at schools themselves. They're
Yep.
contacting the administrations,
Yes, sir.
talking to the principals, talking to the superintendents, showing up at the school board saying, no, this is bull crap. I see
Mhm.
what you're doing. You're not going to teach this stuff to my
Right.
kid. You're not going to tell my daughter that she has to share a locker room with a boy.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, and the school grassroots army is the YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Suppose they owe us $5 now for the
Sure.
free press. We
Sure.
ain't
Put
gonna
them
get
over.
it. But they show clips of parents getting up to the school boards and laying into them, and the end is always the same. Your time is up, sir. Thank you. Next speaker.
Right.
They might as well. And when they actually put the camera on the school boards,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're on their phone. The artist here said, I'm bringing this back up.
yeah,
Encourage them to ask questions.
yeah,
So this whole situation here with this young man and this it appears to be another young lady over here on
Yep.
the lower portion of the screen.
hmm
All they're doing is they're putting out information for people that have questions. And
yep.
apparently it is triggering, it is violent, it is racist, it is sexist, it is homophobic, it is wrong
Mm,
to ask questions. But let's play the rest of this video here. Let's see what happens when an educator, and I say that in air quotes for those listening on
Yeah,
audio
we use that
only.
term loosely.
Yeah. Let's see what happens when this adult educator disagrees with these young minds. Here we go.
So you don't even know what that is. You don't even know what this is. Get this out of here.
Oh, she's becoming violent.
Mhm.
Let's continue.
Unbelievable. Joining me exclusively is the student you just saw, Patrick Ruby. He's a rising junior at Hunter College. Patrick,
There's a
what
menacing
set
kid
her
if ever I
off?
saw one.
Yeah, he looks good. He looks like
Yeah,
Screech.
I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley.
I just want to play one portion of what he says here real quick.
In your display. Now, this is a professor at the college.
Mhm.
What is she a professor of, first of all? Or do you know?
I'm not sure exactly what she's a professor of. She's in
Oh,
the
it's-
arts department.
Oh,
But-
shocking.
Other than
Oh,
that,
okay.
All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that. Shocking. It's funny but not funny, man. It's actually kind of funny. It's sad. All right, so we see this teacher, and she
Engaging
becomes.
in violent behavior.
Now, would you call that violent?
Well, let's see. Striking out with the intent to harm or damage. I'd say she damaged their little display thing there.
Mhm.
And then we'll get to the rest of it later on. But yeah, her actions fit the definition that we posted up of violent a lot more than Screech and his young lady friend standing behind a table being timid and meek and saying, would you like a pamphlet? Yes, here you go. No,
That's it.
have a nice day.
That's it. That's it. So this is really quickly. I'm gonna show you another quick little video, and this is and there's a reason why this happened. I like to set things up here, but so this Shellyne Rodriguez has been arrested,
hmm
right? So we're gonna see the volume off. We see her being let out, and hear the questions asked.
Why a machete? Anything for the New York Post?
The New York Post.
Why did you use a machete?
Why did you use a machete?
Were you scared of the reporters or why?
She's laughing. She's smiling.
Well, yeah.
Why?
Because
Why
she's
is
going to get a
this-
book deal out of this. She's going to get a book deal and she's been fired from the university.
She has.
Sorry for jumping straight ahead on that if you had
That's
that
all
one
good.
teed up for later, but she's been fired from the university. So she is now going to be a CNN contributor and get a book deal on how the patriarchy held her down because she's a black lesbian who, innocent woman who stuck a machete next to a man's throat and threatened to kill him.
Well, let's jump into that.
So let's just.
So here's the deal. So for those who don't know, you did miss something, artists, and I did it for a reason. So why is she getting arrested? She didn't get arrested for being violent towards those kids. See, what happened was the New York Post, which is one of the major newspapers here in New York City, in New York State, in New York City, they actually sent 2 reporters to knock on her door and ask her some questions. They wanted to get her side of the story. They wanted to do what? Ask her what? Questions.
You
And
mean
what are questions?
exercising their First Amendment rights under freedom of the press?
Wait. What are
Keep that in
questions?
mind.
What are questions? Questions are, in her eyes, are what? Violent.
Oh yes, and triggering too. Don't forget
Triggering.
triggering. Yep.
Well, let's see.
And racist too, because
And
shit,
sexist.
what isn't?
Well, let's see what happens here. I have the video up.
Let's get out of here. You can't do that.
New York City college professor who cursed out anti-abortion students holds a machete to the Post reporter's neck and then chased him down the street. What? We continue. This freaking crazy lady, as you can see here in the video, if you're watching on video, now these are the 2 reporters, the bald-headed gentleman, and now this is her with the machete.
Yep.
In a hoodie, disguising herself, because, you know, obviously we wouldn't know it's not her. This dude's taking pictures. She is, man, oh man alive, she is chasing them. It appears to me that she's being she's been triggered.
Yeah, this isn't they came to her house and she's defending her home. She followed them into the street and chased them down. You got there's no more castle doctrine. There's no more stand your ground, neither of which exists in New York anyway. But if they did, this ain't that.
No, she chased them out into the street with machete.
Intent to harm.
Do you love getting high? But
Oh, I do like getting high, but we're not going to play that really quickly.
Yeah, that's gonna lose some. Gonna get
So-
demonetized like crazy right
Yeah.
there.
I want to do that. So, your thoughts on what you've seen so far? We're going to actually hear from the New York Post reporter. But go ahead.
She doesn't like being questioned on her foolish actions, so she goes and tries to become Danny Trejo. No disrespect to Danny Trejo, who is awesome and always has been and always will be. But you can't go full machete on somebody just because they say, "Hey, how come you're knocking over Screech's pamphlets there?" Her response is to escalate it straight to
That's funny.
sticking a machete on this man's throat and saying, "I'm going to chop you up."
So, for those that don't know, machete is a large knife. It's almost like a mini sword. And what
It's
happens
what
is
Jason Voorhees, kills
Yes.
horny teenagers with.
right. But for those that don't know, usually if you live in the tropics or you live anywhere where you need to
hack your
chop
way
your
through
way.
the jungle with it.
Right, exactly. And those are very dangerous. It's a weapon. Now,
Absolutely a weapon.
Chuck, this woman is your educator. She is you know what? Before we even continue, let me just play the clip of the actual reporter that had the machete pulled up to his throat. I actually have this here set up for you, and let's hear his thoughts on this situation.
I've done at least 10,000 door knocks, but this is one of those moments that I will never forget. Tuesday, I was assigned to do a door knock for this college professor who had gotten in an altercation with anti-abortion students at Hunter College, and the story was turning out to be a big one. So they assigned me to attempt an interview. Went up to the 4th floor and knocked on her door, and heard from the other side, "Who is it?" I introduced myself and stated my purpose, and she said what now is sort of becoming a almost famous line about cutting me up with a machete if I didn't get lost.
Is that violent?
I believe so, yeah.
Is that a threat?
Threatening to cut somebody up with a machete seems, I believe that falls under our previous established definition of violence.
Okay, all right. I'm just clarifying before we continue this. But anyway,
She opened the door and brought out the knife.
Look at that
so this is what I remember is her stepping forward, her pushing the blade against the side of my neck, and she was essentially telling.
would this be considered attempted murder?
I would
Almost
say so.
aggravated assault, maybe a felony.
I don't know about aggravated, but yeah, definitely assault. And from what I understand, they're not even charging her with a felony.
Hold on to that one.
Oh,
Hold on
do
to
we
that
know
one.
more?
Yeah, no. Well, let's finish this up. Hold on.
I mean, like I mean business. And then she just stepped back inside her apartment, and the whole thing was over. And all
Did
of
you
3
see what
seconds,
happened right before
both of
she
us
stepped
stunned,
back?
Robert and I, that
I did not.
Can you back it up to right before she steps back into the apartment?
Sure, I'll put the volume down here. I'll move it back around right here.
Right there.
Okay, so what's happening here?
You see her face?
Uh-huh.
You see what she was looking at?
The camera?
Straight into the camera. Did you see the look on her face? Said, "Oh shit, I'm being recorded committing a crime. Let me get the hell out of here."
Mm.
If that
Interesting.
camera's not on, this guy probably is dead.
What happened? Right. Let's continue.
took the stairs. We exited the building, and when we reached the sidewalk, she came out within 30 seconds of us leaving the building. But I believe what happened is that Robert must have raised his camera, because the next thing you know, she started chasing him, and then she actually ran into a beauty salon and kind of took refuge there. So really, I mean, we're talking about an event that occurred all together in a span of maybe 3 to 5 minutes. But it was certainly something I'll never forget. You know, people were asking me, why didn't you flinch? Because I just felt with every cell in my body that she just wanted to scare me. And I know that sounds crazy, because she did put the knife.
So he didn't flinch because he felt that she was
he couldn't process that in the middle of New York City that some crazy woman is actually going to come out of her apartment and chop his head off. Because why would you? That thought is foreign to so many people in the United States of America, that I'm going to knock on somebody's door with the intent of asking questions, and their response is going to be to lop my head off.
She wanted to intimidate him.
Yeah. And you see the look on her face there. She's trying to look all scary. And then you see the oh shit look when she looks into the camera and realizes what's going on.
She knew her career was over.
Then that still went after she followed them out, the one that they led with. She's coming at them walking with a purpose, with evil intent in her eye.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's finish this up here.
Up to my neck. But I think that she was just trying to be threatening. I don't believe that she, for a second, that there was ever any intention to actually do me harm. It was a remarkable experience. Definitely nothing like that ever happened before. So this was a first. It took 10,000 door knocks for me to finally have a knife shoved up against my neck.
All right, we'll end it there. That's perfect. Man, what if she did cut the guy's head off on camera? I mean, does it take that? Now, what was the information that you wanted to share regarding what they did when they locked this young lady up?
I don't remember the details of it. I mean, I looked it back up yesterday, but
you're spot on. I'm letting you know that, but go ahead.
I couldn't remember what they were charged. I forget what misdemeanor they were charging her with, but it is only a misdemeanor. And this is Alvin Bragg's New York. You know, she's not going to see the inside of a jail cell.
She was released.
See,
only a couple hours later on a misdemeanor. And also, she is now, for some reason, it says Shellyne Rodriguez, New York City college professor, this is courtesy of the New York Post, who threatened a Post reporter with machete, is fired, and her lawsuit against the NYPD emerges. What? Let me see here. What?
How did the NYPD come into this, you ask?
It says Shellyne Rodriguez was sacked by Hunter College, or fired by Hunter College, just hours after the adjunct professor was caught on camera by holding the blade to a veteran reporter's neck. Blah 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 blah. We'll move on. It says Hunter College condemns it. They fired her. So now it says here that she is filing some type of lawsuit against it says here Rodriguez, who is the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit, claims she suffered nerve damage from being zip tied when she was nabbed and put in a prisoner van with 14 protesters. So now she is suing the NYPD.
Can't be from this instance, because she was in a car by herself.
These are her words. This is from her attorney and stuff, allegedly.
Yeah.
Holy shit, Chuck. This
And
is usually
here's the other half of that one that was brought up. She's holding a machete to a reporter's throat. How is that not assaulting the free press?
I don't know. Explain to me.
But when the other guy comes up here, when he just says that Jim Acosta's full of beans and CNN's fake news, this guy is an assault on the free press and our democracy. But threatened to lop off a reporter's head, just a misdemeanor. Kick her after a couple of hours.
The point of the point of this whole video here, the point of this conversation is that these are the people that are educating our children. These unhinged, crazy, some would say, some would be, I hate to say it, man, but left wing, nuts. I
hate to say it, you're speaking truth.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm sure. Listen, you get your right wing nuts, you get your left, but I failed. I continue to see the same shit from that side of the spectrum. And the artist here says here, let me see what he says here. He jumps in. He always has a good says woke is now being weaponized. I love the word now. As negative. When years ago it was just being socially conscious. It's negative now. I don't get it. Yeah. So it's the same thing as the word gay. And I'll explain to you what I mean. Back in the 50s and the 40s and the 30s, so on and so forth, when my father was growing up, gay meant happy. That is we'll have a gay old time.
Yeah.
The Flintstones.
Yep.
And now it's changed. The meaning of the words changed, just like the word. I remember when the word woke first came up, I thought the same thing. It just meant, be aware. Don't believe the hype. Do your own research. Stay woke. But it changed. It changed. And these educators have changed their initiative. Their initiative is supposed to be to teach these kids, to educate them, to read the curriculum, like was stated before, to set forth the curriculum, teach these kids their ABCs, their 1, 2, 3s, their history, so on and so forth. Make sure they're able to read at the level they're supposed to read or better.
Mm-hmm.
Do mathematics at the level that they're at or better. But now they're implementing, that's why I played that first one, Chuck, that first video from a year ago with this teacher who decided to take down the American flag and do her own thing. Your thoughts?
Yeah, they're telling you, salute the whatever the hell the rainbow flag thing is. But no, that you don't salute or pledge allegiance to one group of people over another. That's why in America we pledge allegiance to the flag, because the flag represents the country. We don't pledge allegiance to one person, not to any president, not to any House Speaker or whatever. There's no monarch here. You pledge allegiance to the country that you're in, not to a group of people.
Not to Trump, not to Biden.
No.
You're pledging allegiance to the
America,
flag, to
to
America.
your home team. South Park got it right so many years ago. If you can't root for your home team, get the hell out of the stadium.
I love how Aaron Ben jumps in. And again, he lives in a whole different country in Israel. These are our brothers and sisters in arms, the Israeli army. Ray, it's like anti-Semitism because the word was hoarded so much. Now it does not mean anything other than I disagree with you. And you said something about Jews, but so he's basically saying how the word anti-Semitism has also changed as well. Everything changes. But the point of this whole video here, Chuck, and I'm glad you came on with me, and I'm looking forward to having you back on next week again. You just, whenever you fucking want to come on, just come on with me. But it's just like, man, it scares me because I have, my son's going to be going to college in a couple of years. And I don't have control now. I have even less control over, helping my son develop. And his growth is in the hands of these people who I don't know. But they're making themselves known by perpetuating this violent, angry. She talks about violence. She was the one. She was extremely violent. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chuck.
Two kids standing behind a table with pamphlets. You're violent. Meanwhile, I'm going to go over here and pull out a freaking Jason Voorhees weapon against this reporter, but that's not violent. Are these people touched in the head? I ask and answer, yes.
And I like to throw this out every once in a while. And again, if you guys don't know, and I'm not trying to push religion on anyone, but my father was a pastor. I grew up studying theology, so on and so forth. But I always go back to the Bible when it comes to certain things like this, Chuck, if you don't mind. And this situation is very Matthew 7, chapter 7, verse 3-5 says, "How can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your eye,' when the entire time there is a plank in your own eye? You're a hypocrite. First take the plank out of your eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." What that means is that you're so blinded by this large, the wood represents her line of thinking.
You're
She's
so
not
blinded by your own ideology that you can't
Right.
see the forest for the trees, so to speak.
Exactly. You're so worried about the little speck, the little
Mhm.
piece of dust in your friend's eye, in the student's eye, and in your neighbor's eye, and your coworker's eye. That little problem they have, you got a whole bunch of shit you got to worry about. And this is what's happening now, man. And yes, artists, I don't know if you know this, Chuck. I'm going to win the lottery. I spoke about this yesterday on the A show.
Mm.
So if I disappear off the face of the earth, you guys know I've hit $152 million. Just artists is just throwing it out there. Did you know that? Did you know I'm winning the lottery?
Hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Be able to afford all kinds of new equipment. You can do the show anytime you want.
Chuck will officially become my cousin. Hey, did you know we're related? Yeah. All right. But all jokes aside, guys, this is a really scary moment in American history, and I feel like we keep saying that.
Yeah.
Everything from
For the
education,
last several years,
right?
it's every time you turn around, it's the most important election in our history, or this is the scariest time in our history, and it keeps getting worse.
All right, let's end with this. I'll ask you a question, Chuck, and I know we don't have the answers. I always come on and I say the same thing. I'm not a college professor. I don't have several degrees. I'm just speaking as a man who's lived on this earth for half a century, and I'm a father and a husband and an ex-husband and a son. So, I think I cover most spectrums. I'm also a Latino. I'm also from the inner city. So I kind of have what's called wisdom. I've gained a lot of wisdom over the course of my time on this earth. And Chuck, you've gained a ton of wisdom serving our country, traveling to different countries, traveling all over this country. And I just want to ask you, man. I like to ask this question. It's an open-ended question, and there's not necessarily an answer to this, but how do we fix it, Chuck?
That's going to take some serious doing. Step one is the parents have to get involved, and they're starting to. Like I said, they're showing up at school board meetings. They're calling their schools, contacting their school administrations or whatever. Say, hey, what in the hell are you teaching my kid?
Mhm.
Because it's your job as the father. So your son going off to college, yeah, that's scary because you see the world he's walking into. If he says something that they disagree with, they're liable to beat him up or kill him over it. But you have to trust in the job you did as a dad to raise him with a strong enough moral compass that he'll say, okay, I'll listen to what you're saying, but I will make up my own mind. They don't want the students to make up their own minds. Look, this is what you're going to think. This is how you're going to feel. Now regurgitate it, and I'll give you an A, and we'll pass you on, and you can have your master's degree in underwater basket weaving or whatever. That's probably not going to do you any good. But parents got to get involved now
Mhm.
and take control of their children's moral upbringing. Not so much their education. That is the purpose that teachers serve to teach them the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, the history, the sciences, but not necessarily how to interpret it.
That's actually that's spot on. Get involved, man. Parents, get involved.
Especially with teenagers, because I remember when I was a teenager, kept my parents at arm's length because I was 15 and knew everything there was to know anyhow. So what did I need my parents for? They were stupid.
And I got to say something real quick, Chuck. You don't have to be a parent to get involved.
No.
You don't have to have children to get involved. If you really care about the future of this country or any other country that you're in, if you really care about the future of this world, get involved. Vote, go out there, peacefully protest. I don't have a problem. Protesting is part of who we are here in this country.
Exactly. But when, just to clarify, when Big Ray and I say peacefully protest, we don't mean burn down buildings like some other groups do.
No.
We mean actually peacefully protest, stand on the sidewalk and do your thing, not in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Because
Hey,
we're told.
listen, my friend, it's the whole Target Bud Light thing. Target has lost $30 billion.
Yeah, I saw.
Bud Light has lost billions and billions of dollars. Their stocks have dropped dramatically. I think 4.6 about 2 days ago. They dropped 4.6 points in the index. And I don't know anything more powerful than just stand your ground.
Yeah.
And do not support these things.
Exactly.
Make your voices heard. Right.
And the thing of it is with Bud Light, with this little geek that they got their little thing with, like you've said, and I've said on this thing, he wants to say he's trans or whatever. Fine, do your thing, Dylan. You're not hurting anybody,
right?
So rock on,
bro. Right.
But don't tell me that I have to cheer you on. Number one, and number two, you're not a girl. You're a grown man in a dress making an ass of himself, because real women don't act the way he acts.
No,
real women got big girl shit to do, and they handle their business. My boss at work is a woman. My bosses, when I was in my guard unit, all three of them were women. I got no issue taking orders from women. Women can be in, they were all master sergeants, and their chevrons looked exactly the same as the male master sergeants did. Master sergeant's a master sergeant, no matter, what bathroom they use. So it has nothing to do with the transism. It has to do with the influencer part of it. He's an influencer. Influencing what? You're a failed actor who wants attention.
Well, did you hear? I know this is off topic. Did you hear that he's gone viral now that he feels like he wants to date girls?
Yeah, he says he's a lesbian. No, Dylan, you're a straight white guy, which makes you the most hated ethnic group in the United States of America right now.
Bro,
which might be the first step in him going away, because they don't want to talk about straight white dudes.
What a fucking this guy. You know what? I'm gonna say this: Dylan Mulvaney may be the smartest man in America. He tricked you all. He got you guys lock, stock, and barrel. He tricked the left. He tricked the right. He tricked everybody. I don't think this guy gives a shit. And I don't think this teacher gives a shit about her quote unquote students.
No, but she's got her book deal coming up. Like I said, she'll get a book deal. She'll get a podcast, and within a year, she'll be a CNN, MSNBC contributor.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what? I think this is a perfect way to leave this show. And you, man, get involved, guys. Get involved. Again, you don't have to be a parent to care about the children of the future here. You're Chuck. Put over your social media, my friend, as we get the hell out of here.
What, the college football chaos show?
Yeah, man, put it over, brother.
You can catch every week during college football season on the College Football Chaos on YouTube and Facebook. Catch my brother and I as we break down all the college football news of that week, our predictions for that week's games, and our reviews of last week's games right here on Sports Talk on CFC.
So are you guys doing you guys going to start doing more shit coming up, or
around August time frame we're going to get started probably early August. It was show prep for the season. The first show of the season, since there's no games to review, it's mostly predictions of week 1. Sometimes we wait until official week 2 because the week 1 games are, he looks at them and goes, none of these games are interesting at all. Let's talk about what happened during the off season. This coach got fired. This coach moved from here to here. This, particular athlete entered the transfer portal, went from this school to that school. These schools changed conferences, this, that, and the other, like UCLA and USC joining the Big Ten in a couple of years, which will then have 16 teams in the Big Ten and 8 teams in the Big 12. Yeah.
Okay. Who is all right, before we go, who is the number 1 kid coming out of high school right now? Do you know? Like who's the man?
I don't know. My brother might if pressed.
Is there somebody we should be looking out for? Somebody who's definitely NFL bound. What about that kid that I keep seeing that he's like 16, looks like freaking Herschel Walker?
Could not tell you.
This is freaking kid.
My brother is the senior football analyst for the show. I'm just the good-looking, charismatic one that gets it from segment to segment. He's the one who knows everything.
It's like
so to put it in Home Improvement, I'm Tim and he's Al.
Well, check out my boy Chuck Finley and his college football breakdown, guys. We'll put it over every single week. And Chuck, you're going to come back next week. We're going to talk some WNBA.
Get some sports going on.
And you know what? And during the week, you and I want to hit you back and forth so we can kind of discuss this whole WNBA talk. We'll discuss why the WNBA is just not working. We'll talk about Brittany Griner. We'll talk about, whether I would love to discuss whether a woman would ever be able to get into the NBA. But is it possible? These are all conversations I think it'll be fun to have next week. Like I said, the A show is not just the A show extra is not just going to be politics all the time. I want to do sports. I want to do feel good stories as well. So this is going to be a fun talk. So join us again next week, guys. Around 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday. Now, I have to figure something out. I may miss next week, and we may have to push it to the following week. I may not be in the A show. It's me and my wife's anniversary. I forgot. I have to look at the calendar. I don't know if it's next week or the following week, the 12th.
Better figure that out quick or you're going to be in trouble.
Oh, no, I'm good next week. It's the following week that I'm not going to be on. So I'm just putting it out there. This would be great, man. Aaron Ben Shlomo. If we talk some global politics, we'll have Chuck on. We'll have my friend Aaron Ben. He also has he streams on Facebook a lot. So that'll be really, really cool. We should have Aaron Ben. We could hook that up, Aaron Ben, off air. This would be incredible to talk about and a fun show. We only do about an hour here every Thursday, so please join us. Enjoy your lunch break or whatever you do around this time. I guess it's 12 o'clock Eastern Standard. Well, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. So, West Coast, what time is it right now? What is it, 11? I don't know how to do math.
10
a.m. Maybe you're having your breakfast. But stop by, guys. Join us, and I love you all. In the words of my brother in heaven, Bill Schuyler, we will see you down the road. Say goodbye, Chuck.
Goodbye, Chuck.
Goodbye, Chuck. Later, guys. Love you all. God bless.